When we get back to the Tower of Babel, it's, the one language. It's about, uh, you know, I need to stop these people from having this one language, so scatter different languages and everything. So it seems like, of course, we're trying to get back to that, and they're doing that with technology. I mean, we've got all the brain chips where there's, you could have Google Translate automatically in there and everything like that. But in an event forum that took place at the Davos meeting. I've been kind of breaking down this Davos meeting week by week because there's just so much that happens at that thing. You can't cover it all in one week. But they had a forum that was called the What If Your Brain Confesses. I've got a clip of this. This is the girl, Nita Farahany. Have you ever heard of her before?
No, I had not.
Okay, she's somebody that I've talked about for a few weeks. She's kind of the next up and coming Noah or Yuval Noah Harari with her thinking. Yeah, you may want to take some time and look into her because some of the stuff that she's pushing is freaky. And so in this video, it's a little clip. They're talking about coercing and decoding brains against people's will and everything. It's interesting. Check this out.
Are convicted in their belief. And so, to Jack's point about using some of the lie detection technology, particularly for eyewitnesses, not only can we put information in without blowing up your brain, we can put it in and then you can believe it so sincerely that the problem is you can testify to that effect. And in fact, we've seen this in a number of ways. The police were doing lineups where the suggestibility of the information was so strong that people would later identify a person that they'd seen. For example, you show a picture lineup and only one person has on a jacket and nobody else does. And then when you go to the live lineup, because your brain triggered that there was something different about that person, you identify the person who you've just seen, but not realizing that it's because of some difference. And then you've seen them twice, and now you're asked to testify as an eyewitness, and you're so convicted about having seen that person commit the crime, even though that person's utterly innocent, that it becomes a planted memory. And so there's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. And in a different context, one of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitries that cause pain, I guess the question is, could we then instill pain and use that in many coercive measures in the legal system as well? So.
Wow.
Okay.
Basically, we can get you to admit you're guilty for something you never did, but you think you did it, and everybody else is going to think you did it because we implanted things into their brain, and we can eliminate you from the public sector.
Basically, we can implant this memory into your brain, and then we're going to use pain to get you to say that. Yeah, so something that we talk about is basically like programming, desensitizing. I can never say this word. Desensitizing people. I'm just going to say it that way with movies and stuff. So this automatically brings in. We've seen this already. Inception, where they're able to plant an idea in somebody's brain. Then we've seen it in the Minority Report, where they're able to read somebody's brain before they even commit the crime so they can go and arrest it. So we're already seeing that they've been working on this up to this point. Now they're getting ready to implement the technology. So here we go. Now we've got the thing of placing information, placing ideas, memories, thoughts into people's brains to make them believe it. I don't know, just things that pop into my head. Could it be that they could start programming people to worship the Antichrist? Could they start turning people away from God? Could this be something that's in the mark of the beast to make it so you are worshiping the Antichrist? I don't know. What do you think?
So I could be, but I don't think it's going to get to that point before the mark of the beast, because the implication from Revelation chapter 13 is something that the human being themselves willfully does. So it's not because really what she's talking about is, okay, you put this in there as a memory thing, and then you're getting coerced into it. A different form of coercion, right? Mm-hmm. But they take over and get you to admit to whatever it is. I get the impression from Revelation chapter 13, no, it's a willingness You're not coerced by an outside force or the Yuval Noah Harari person or this chick. It's not that.
Mhm.
It's that you willingly receive the mark of the beast. So much so that in Revelation 14, there's an angel that flies around the whole planet, says, whatever you do, don't receive the mark of the beast. So with those thoughts, it appears that humanity doesn't quite reach that point yet, because it's still it's a willful thing. In fact, in 2 Peter chapter 3, about those who scoff and mock people like us in the last days, they willfully are ignorant. They willfully forget that God created all things. So there's still a will that people have. So this would be something that would be kind of against a person's will, and it takes them over than they think it is. So I don't think so. But Zach, this also lets us know how close we are really to these things coming down, to us going up, but everything happening, the whole tribulation period. Because if they're talking about this, and from what I understand, I'm not familiar with her, but what I understand about the technology, listen, this stuff is here. And it's just a matter of getting certain things perfected. And one of the articles I read that you sent me is talking about we're all on a different one of the technologies. Everything's on paper now, so now they're looking to fund all of the research on it. But you take Neuralink, for example. What are they saying with Neuralink? Well, we'll be able to, the lame will walk, the blind will see, the deaf will hear. They're playing Jesus with technology. And so they are attempting to do, it's so interesting, copy God.
Yep.
Is what they're, but with this, God gives us free will. It was, I mean, some people are going to argue against that, but whatever. Yuval Noah Harari, that's what he says. This idea that you have your will is going to be gone.
Yep.
And that's exactly what this girl's saying. No, we're going to remove that option. So there's got to be something that takes place before this gets implemented to the masses, which I believe is the rapture, and then the tribulation begins. But even during the tribulation period, it doesn't appear to me that it gets quite that far to the point where it affects your ability until you receive the mark of the beast. Once you receive the mark of the beast, there is no change. So maybe at that point, that's what you have done. You've willfully received the mark of the beast, knowing it will permanently change that ability that you currently have. You won't. Your will be gone in that sense.